All right, welcome everybody. Today we are going to be talking with Enoch. He has lost upwards of 150, 160 pounds, it sounds like, which is a amazing amount of weight to do so. He's going to give us a lot of great insight on his transformation and some bariatric surgery and some of the experience that he's had with that. Enoch, is there anything else you'd like to introduce yourself with?
Um, no, yeah, I'm Enoch, 34 years old. And yeah, I had the gastric bypass surgery and it's worked wonders for me.
Great.
At least in my case, it has.
Awesome. So yeah, we'll definitely dive into that. Before we get too far into the surgery and what happened, I love to start at the very beginning of, before you decided to make a transformation. So take us back to pre-surgery. How are you feeling and what made you decide that you needed to change your life?
So I really don't think I can like maybe pinpoint, just that moment when I realized, I mean, I was always, aware that I was overweight, but there wasn't that, oh gosh, I gotta lose weight. It was just, just sort of a combination of things, just general health. I got hit with arthritis pretty bad, and obviously being overweight and arthritis is a pretty nasty combo. So that was definitely a contributing factor. Um, but maybe now that I think about it, I mean, I think there was maybe a one type of an incident where, I was with my family, we were talking, general geek stuff, the stereotypical overweight geek gamer, of which I very much am. I'm very much a geek and gamer and such. And I just, without thinking, was like, man, I'm so glad I'm not that way. And, my family just started laughing, like, no, yeah, you are. And of course, I had
No
that
one's
moment, like,
honest like family, right?
yeah, on his family. And, at first, I was kind of, taken aback, but, thank goodness, I actually had a head on my shoulders, like, yeah, they were right. They were definitely right.
So at the time, you mentioned you were almost 400 pounds.
Yes.
Um, Probably not the most active then, and then pair that with arthritis and just
Yeah.
being discomfort. I mean, constantly uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and realizing, okay, this probably needs to be something
Hmm.
that changes. And so you did decide to move forward with a bariatric surgery. It was a gastric
Yes.
bypass. Is that
Yes.
perfect? So let's real quick talk about just your experience with that. Maybe some of the pros of the surgery. How was the recovery? So we just start from when it happened and we'll kind of move from there on.
Okay, so yeah, I had been thinking about it for that while, it was just kind of in the back of my head. And thank goodness, again, with my family, they were very supportive. And in particular, my sister, she actually had the gastric bypass a number of years ago, and she looks great even today. Um, and I really leaned on her for her perspective and ideas and what to expect. And I even actually went through the same people that she did, the Rocky Mountain Associated Physicians. They were incredibly supportive. I mean, first of all, they offer a free seminar to let you know the type of surgeries that they offer, what's to be expected if you do decide to follow through. Are you going to which doctor you're going to choose? You're going to have one-on-one with them. So they are very very supportive throughout. And actually, one of the nice things is part of it is a lifetime subscription to their support program. If you ever have the questions or anything like that, you can give them a call and they'll help you out to the best of their ability. But in combination with that, with my sister, just a readily to go resource, I've been able to, keep on top of this thing. And it really is, I think, um, just that determination of keeping that lifestyle. It's simple and basic, but um, like you're not as limited as you think that you are after the surgery.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more about that. So how did nutrition change after the surgery for you? How much different was it eating?
So right after the surgery, for the first few weeks, it was a liquid diet. Obviously, you don't want anything big or heavy, as they just, rearranged your plumbing inside.
Right.
uh, so those first few weeks, it was the liquid diet, mainly soups, cottage cheese, things like that. But after I think the 4 week period, you're then able to move on to the more solid stuff. And it's really then that they just sort of want you to focus on what they call the 70-30 diet, 70% protein, 30% vegetables. And that's really just about it. And while as limiting as that may sound, you do actually have quite a lot of options in that.
Awesome. And so how quickly did you start losing weight then? How long ago was the surgery to now that you're down 170 pounds? Is that what
So
you said?
yeah. So it's been pretty rapid, at least in my respect. They say it is typical right after the surgery that you really start losing a lot of those pounds recovery. They say about typically 2 weeks recovery, and I felt I was right on track with that. I actually less actually. I was up and about, ready to go back to work in that less amount of time. So I was feeling great. And even afterwards, I wasn't sure if I necessarily trusted the scale because immediately I have now made it, to weigh myself daily to see how I'm doing. Soon after the surgery, I was immediately weighing myself, and I really couldn't believe that, at least according to the scales, saying I was down 15 pounds already. I'm like, I'm not sure if I quite believe that, but it really has been. So I had it towards the tail end of January. So just at the beginning of the year, I figured, wait until after the holidays, one final enjoyment, and then fully commit to this. And then to now, here in September, so almost 9 months out, yeah, almost 175, 180 pounds.
That's incredible. That is
Yeah.
so much weight. So you're
And
looking at 9 months, almost 20 pounds a month,
yeah,
about.
yeah.
That's,
And one of the things they state is not to get discouraged because with this, I mean, you are dropping a lot of weight. And that's very evident. But they did state that with this type of surgery, there are going to be those moments where you feel like you're going to peter out, that you're going to, stubbornly stick to like a weight, and maybe even sometimes just gain, not like a lot, but maybe 1 or 2 pounds. And you really shouldn't worry about that. Again, it's your body almost like in a way of protesting. It's wanting to keep that because, if you've been obese for a while, your body's wanting to maintain that and such. So I've definitely had those periods in those stubborn areas in which I can recall staying in like the 350s, 320s, just kind of stubbornly sticking there for about a week. And then all of a sudden I weigh myself again and then I drop like a stone again. So
yeah, it's interesting to see how your body kind of hits those settling points and those
yeah,
equilibrium points. So this is a good thing to bring up. Everyone faces that. Will face a sticking point, whether you've had a
right.
gastric bypass surgery or not. What tools did you use to help you psychologically deal with those moments?
Again, with the support of my people at the weight loss clinic and my sister, again, it was just them, that reassurance that, what, this is just going to be temporary. You are going to lose the weight. But other things that help me employ. One of the things that they mention is, if that ends up happening, just try something as simple as increasing your water intake. And that can typically just be as simple as that.
Just make a small change. And so I think the two
Yeah.
things you kind of got to there were one, just understanding it's part of the process and just being
Hmm.
along kind of for that roller coaster ride. And then two, if
Yeah.
you do hit a little bit more stubborn of a sticking point, maybe reevaluating and changing where you can.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to when you were talking about how fast you're losing that weight, how does it feel energy level wise? That's something I've always been curious about.
My
Because it
energy has been pretty phenomenal after losing this weight. I mean, perfect example again with the combination of the arthritis. Before the surgery, I would have avoided getting on my knees like at all costs. I mean, I'm sure there are probably some viewers who know about that. Weight plus arthritis really is very bad. So I would have avoided getting on my knees at all times. Now I'm actually, I can get down on my knees and up with relative ease now. It's not as bad.
That's great. And so now you're feeling much better. During the deficit, did you ever feel like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is when typically when people are on like a caloric deficit, sometimes they can feel a decrease in energy level. And so you were in the position where you just couldn't eat nearly as much as you were used to. Did you feel anything like that during the first few months or
I can't say that I think I've experienced something like that, at least not off the top of my head.
man, that's amazing.
Uh,
That's great.
I mean,
Good for you.
well, I mean, in addition to the meals that I eat, I do have supplements that help as well. Because again, with the way things have been rearranged, the food doesn't spend as much time in my body, so it doesn't have as much time to absorb everything. So I take at least calcium, a B12, and a multivitamin. But I really don't think I can recall, you know, uh, after eating those meals, even though they're small, just feeling tired because I haven't eaten enough. And one of the things that's nice about this is you're really trying to retrain your body. One of the things that's helped me is what they call the 30-30-30 rule. Is that they want you to stop drinking 30 minutes before you eat, take a full 30 minutes during your meal, and then wait another 30 minutes after you eat. This way, it's helping to train your body to listen to your stomach and to register that full mark. Just take your time.
That's really intelligent. I mean, basically you're taking time to relearn the cues
Yeah,
that maybe you
and
didn't have
in
quite loud
this,
and clear before.
yeah, and in this day and age, everything's in a rush. Everything has to be, time, when that's really not meant to be the case. Food is meant to be stopped and enjoyed and, you know, taken seriously. And that's really has helped me in that regard. Just take your time, register your full mark.
Yeah. And I think that's critical for anybody in understanding like a change in nutritional behavior is you
Mhm.
have to take the time to listen to those cues in your body. So you mentioned something just a little while ago that became way easier to move. Did you take on any exercise routine during this?
Um, I have done some intermittent exercises. Again, nothing that's, gonna, you know, kill me essentially, because I do have to deal with my arthritis as well. I mean, if you can kind of see, uh,
Right.
but it's just enough that I feel like I'm getting just that little bit of exercise. And they recommend, at least by people, that you don't necessarily have to kill yourself. Their personal recommendation is, just exercise enough until you just get that little bit of sweat on your brow. You can do more if you want, if you really want to push yourself, but that's typically, just what you need, at least in their recommendation.
That's great. So now that you're down the full 170 pounds, are you going to continue onward? Are you trying to go more? Do you know what
Uh,
your
I
goals are?
I would like to continue going a bit more. My ideal goal is I would like to be within the range of 190 to 210.
Okay. And you're 220 right now, is that what you said? Sorry, I forgot at the
Yeah,
beginning.
I'm now in the two teens, at least again, weighing myself
Okay.
this morning. I was saying I was 218. So I'm really starting to get to that goal.
Yeah, you're right there. You're 10, 20 pounds away. So, which
Mhm.
what's another 10 or 20 after 170?
Yeah. And that's exactly my thinking. It would be easy enough to, just say, oh, let's stop here. And I've definitely have had that thought, but I'm like, you know what? No, I've set this goal. I want to reach that.
That's really impressive. I, I I often see that sometimes the worst thing for success is success. That
Yeah, it,
when
it could certainly be.
yeah, you sometimes get complacent. So I'm really impressed that you've been able to keep your head in the game and continue to chase these goals. Um, One other question that I'm interested in is, what do you think's just been the biggest change that you've been able to perceive from this? Like, what's changed in your life, um, walking around
Um,
that almost half the size as before?
just that general, I know I'm getting better. That more energy, I'm moving more freely. It's not, you know, becoming much of a cumbersome on my daily life. I sleep with a CPAP, and I noticed a few months ago after I was really starting to lose the weight that the pressure was getting a little bit higher. So I think my sleep patterns may be easing up a bit, where I may not need the CPAP anymore, but that may not be the case because ordinary people need CPAPs too. So, but it's and in combination with that, just moving better is, your brother met me at the Costco. I've been there for about a year now, and just so I've gotten to know, recognize certain people on site. They know and love me, and especially those that have seen me before and after. The compliments that I've gotten have been nothing but support. They're absolutely floored and amazed that I've lost this much weight, and it's spurred me more to keep going.
That's great. That social aspect can be so important. I know that that can be a big change when you have a
Right.
big health change. Is people typically will kind of treat you hopefully in a more positive way, which
Yeah.
can be
Well,
nice.
and I've definitely had those, where some people, feel like they may need to walk around eggshells, because I've definitely had people like, "Have you lost weight?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, I have." It's like, I wasn't sure if I should have mentioned it. No, you should.
You're like, no, please
No,
continue.
please, yeah.
Well,
I
that's
don't
great.
mind.
Um, and if this is a sensitive topic, we can move past it. But I know in the literature, people have noted that with gastric bypass surgery, sometimes there is a increase in like mental health or depression or anything like that. Did you feel anything like that, or has it been mostly positive for you?
I feel like it's been mostly positive for me. Again, with the people that I went with, they had a pretty good, like, screening first before they felt that they should go through with it. And one of them was a psychological profile, a psych eval, and uh, apparently I seem to have done just fine. I mean, I haven't felt any of those intrusive, thoughts or ideas or anything like that. I mean, my general attitude has been very positive and up.
That's fantastic. So it really seems across the board this has just been a positive experience for you. That
It
this is
has
a
been.
that's wonderful. So, towards the end of the interview, I always kind of like to ask one or two of the same questions to everybody. The first one is, I think it is always easy to learn from mistakes, and it's great to be able to learn from someone else's mistakes. And
Mhm.
so, if you could go back to the very beginning, what do you think was a mistake that you made somewhere along the way? This doesn't even have to necessarily be with the surgery, just anything with a health journey that you could say, if I was going to start over again, I would definitely try to avoid this mistake I made.
Right. I mean, it's actually a very good question. I mean, yeah, like, if, yeah, I could go back and look at my younger self and, like, dude, just don't do this. I mean, I think where it probably would have really began was in high school. I was, you know, didn't have a whole lot of money, and so one of the nice things that I was able to swing with, at least in my school, is some of us could volunteer to be on the cafeteria to help the food ladies and such. And with that, we got our lunches free. And typically, if there was extra, we could take extra. And I was one of those that loved taking extra. So yeah, if I could go back and like, dude, just don't. You don't need that much.
So you actually would go all the way back to before you even
Yeah, I
got big
think
and just say, overall, even though this was a wonderful experience with the
yeah,
surgery,
I think
if
yeah,
you
I
could just
really started
not
to
get there, that would have been better.
yeah, I think I really started to gain that you know, uh during that. I don't think it was, really bad. Though, I think I gained quite a bit there, but throughout the subsequent years from that, it just has that snowball effect where you just eat more and more and more.
Yeah, that's true. And sometimes you don't realize the path that you're setting yourself on in your
Well, and
youth.
it's easy to get blindsided because uh, we don't have the benefit of looking at ourselves from the outside. I mean, we're we're kind of stuck with our first person view, so we can't really look at ourselves even in a mirror unless we look at an old photo of ourselves and we're like, hey, am I really that big?
That's always a shocking moment, I think, for anyone who's been big is when they see those pictures of themselves and you're like, wow,
Yeah,
when did
yeah,
I ever look like that? I bet that's nice now, right? To see a
it
picture
is. Yeah.
and to see the progress that you've made. So one last question that I have for you is, if you were going to give someone a piece of advice who's about to start on their health journey and try to change their life for the better, what would it be?
I mean, just again, do your research, do your due diligence. Again, what I did isn't necessarily going to be for everybody, and again, I was very much in that you know um, interesting type of headspace. Before, after, and even sometimes now, where can I do this? Am I able to do this? It was that wash of emotions. This is going to be a big major surgery, but just do your research and just come to the best decision that is uh, best for you. And again, with my particular situation, with the arthritis and such, because regular exercise again at that weight wasn't going to be that much of a viable option. I mean, I wasn't really bad, but I wasn't exactly as mobile as I feel like I am now, um, especially on my joints. But it, it definitely felt like it was the right path for me.
That's great. Man, thank you so much for your time and for your
Mhm.
wisdom. This has been really, really eye-opening. That's all I really had. Do you have any other questions or topics you'd like to touch on before we wrap things up?
I mean, uh, can't really think of anything off the top of my head. I mean, I can let you know about some of the foods that I do if any of your
Sure.
listeners
Yeah,
might
let's
be
let's
interested in that.
let's talk about that
Um,
real quick. What are because I'm sure it's somewhat unique in your
yeah,
situation with
yeah,
having gastric bypass. So
it is. Yeah, and
what are
again,
your go-to
uh,
nutritional?
so again, like I said, they want you to focus on that, 70-30 type of a diet, focusing on the protein and the vegetables. And again, your stomach's, about that big. So those smaller portions, typically one of my go-to in for breakfast is just simple seasoned meat, and that's really it. One of the things that I like to do is I'll cook up a big batch of taco meat and section that off into little baggies. So I'll just pop it in the fridge so I know this is the amount that I'm able to eat, and that satisfies me. And it with this journey now, it also has taught me to look at things in alternate ways as well. I've been looking at a lot of food channels with some recipes and such, and looking at it, I'm like, okay, how can I tweak this in a way that's, beneficial for me and such. Uh, a perfect example would be like something as simple as pasta, looking at it like, okay, I can have the sauce and the meat, but, just mix the pasta.
And I think that that really might be a more valuable key than most people want to think about is when you
Yeah.
stop looking for problems and start looking for opportunities,
Mhm.
the world opens up to you.
It
I,
really does. And again, going back to what I mentioned, just taking your time, don't do the fast foods. Meal prep, I think, is just as important as anything else, because again, you have these ready to go, it's good for you, and you just gotta take time out of your day to do it.
yeah, no, I totally agree. So, man, that was great. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for all of that, and I wish you the best on your endeavors. Hopefully, in the next little bit, I can follow up and hear that you're all the way down to your goal
Yeah,
weight.
well,
That'd
I
be
mean, my
almost
next
200 pounds, sounds
my next
like.
stop today after this is actually going to be going to DI to get some more pants.
I'm sure. I'm sure you've probably dropped at least 1 or 2 inches off your waist in the last
Oh
170
yeah.
pounds.
So yeah, again, at my biggest, I was at least in my pant size a 56, and now I think I'm now just about down to 38. So a lot of
Wow,
weight, a lot of weight.
that is incredible. So you're looking at almost 20 full inches.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Well, man, that's absolutely amazing. I'm glad you're feeling so much better and that you've taken control of your health. I thank you again for your time and
Mhm.
for all the knowledge and being willing to share. That's the whole point. It's just finding out what worked for someone. Hopefully, we can make it work for someone else. So that's all I had today, and we'll just kind of end it there.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so very much for letting me talk to you and let me share my experience. Hopefully, this will, give greater insight to other people who may be considering this.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Have a nice day.
Bye.